Hey everybody, this is Checklist. I'm a home cook and I'm here to check off recipes you want to try to tell you if it's worth a shot or not. Welcome to episode 2. I put on a vote for what I should cook for the second recipe, either kimchi, SUNDUBU JJIGAE, or pepperoni pizza. And although it was a really close call, the kimchi SUNDUBU JJIGAE won. So that's what we're doing today. Also because those are the ingredients that I actually have. Today we're making kimchi SUNDUBU JJIGAE. It means soft tofu stew. It's a Korean staple dish that is usually paired with a main dish, a very salty main dish, or it can even be a main dish in itself. First, we're gonna make our dashi, which is our base soup stock. So we're adding 4 cups of water to whatever you can add 4 cups of water to. Normally, I use dried anchovies, like the actual ones versus the powder, but the Korean store ran out, so I'm using this, and I used a tablespoon and a half. Now, is there a difference between dried or powdered? In my case, I appreciated powder because I could adjust the taste better. I'm stuttering. Next up, we add sea kelp or sea tangle to our dashi, and this adds the saltiness of the broth. Now, you add around 10 pieces, but in this case, I only added about 5 to 6, but you're supposed to add 10. And then we're gonna add our radish. Now, I like dicing this up in blocks because I get to use it in the main broth after boiling it here. Now, it's 3 ingredients, and you put everything in the pot, and this is gonna simmer at maybe almost high heat for about 25 minutes. Now we work on everything else. Now you better get your red pepper powder. Make sure it's the flaky one and not the powdery one. There is a difference. And this is the one you normally use for kimchi. So you add 2 tablespoons of that, and then sesame oil, a tablespoon full. So there's normally an aftertaste, so choose your sesame oil well. So you mix that together and then set it aside, and then we prepare our onion, around 1/4 cup, but I just fill that little cup up. Now you're supposed to use white, but this works as well. So next you add 2 cloves of minced garlic. In my case, I fill it up to half or 3/4, and then 1 teaspoon of salt and 1.5 teaspoon of sugar. Next up, we prepare 1/2 cup of fermented kimchi, and make sure you try to get the liquid that's like left at the bottom. That really helps. So right now we're wrapping up all the ingredients we have to prepare before we assemble them for our broth. Now the rest of the ingredients, like the soft tofu, the beef, and the egg, that's really up to you, especially the meat. You can choose to go vegan or just seafood, so we can move on. Now we are transferring the 4 cups, so it might not reach 4 cups, so I usually add a bit of water just to make it reach 4 cups because it's perfect for this stone bowl that I have. Now this is a Korean stone bowl, I think, and it's around maybe 6 inches or as big as my palm. Now this is something you traditionally use for stews because it keeps the bowl or the soup hot. Now the problem with this is the gas burner that I have, the portable one, burns it way too fast. Like my garlic's already burned. And I'm gonna try it again, but it's still gonna fail. So I'm gonna move to my back kitchen. This is really bad. Even at low heat, it still burns everything off, so I don't think I can use it. Setting that aside as a background, let's talk about the meat for a bit. So you can actually use pork or beef or seafood, or you can go vegan if you want, change the stock or something. Now here I used a beef samgyup cut, but it's too thick, and you can usually get that at Korean grocery stores. But anyway, moving on, we are on to the third take, which is again adding sesame oil, garlic, and onions. Now on to our final take. We're gonna let the meat brown for a bit. Now a bit of a segue, now that I'm in the back kitchen, there's a lot of people here, and our house helpers are cooking pancit and having their merienda, so I'll mute the cooking audio for quite a while. So let's move forward. So now that we're finally sure that our food is not gonna burn, we can add our 1/2 cup of kimchi, and we just stir that around until it's until everything sort of melts all together and it's mixed well until it looks like that. So after that, we add the broth. Now make sure not to add it all the way because we're still gonna add a lot of other stuff, and you don't want to have to sift out soup in the middle of everything. So just add maybe like 3/4. I think that should be enough. Now the broth is gonna simmer for about 8 minutes. Now this is the time to get your egg, your soft tofu out of the fridge. Now only if you have some, to make the broth even better, add 2 shrimp heads to the broth while it's simmering. Pretty hot. I've actually made this quite a number of times, but it's the first time I used it with the gas burner, so it didn't really work out that well. I don't know if it's too strong because it's still, the can's still like full capacity, but it was already at its lowest setting and yet it was still burning, so I don't know, my eyes hurt a little bit because of the onions and the smoke. So making it with a traditional burner, I think that's the best. Look at that. I want to make it again. So now we add our red pepper powder and our sesame oil mix, and this actually determines the spice of the stew. Some people use gochujang, but I like this method better. Now I'm not a spicy food person, so this is enough heat for me. Up to you, you can add so much more. You can taste it at this point to see if you want to add some more. And then you add the radish that we got from our broth a while ago, so no waste. So this kind of soft tofu, you can find it at groceries and Korean groceries, so it's not so hard. But if you don't have it, you can also use other tofu, but this is the best. Now I should be smushing it into bigger chunks, but this'll do. Now I forgot to shoot the part where I was separating the egg yolk and cracking it in, and I was chopping up some spring onions and this siling labuyo, the one you use for sinigang. This is my dad's personal sundubu bowl, and he wanted it spicier because he is a spicy food person. So that's the edit I made there. Word of caution, when transferring from the kitchen to the dining area, do not touch this bowl. Wear mittens or get that plate to put it on. It's very, very, very hot. So I'm about to have a really, really, really yummy lunch. And I'm waiting for my dad. He's not here yet. His is prettier. Okay, so how you actually eat this is you put the soup on your rice. How is it?
Good. I like it. Actually, it's the one I eat outside mo talaga. Yun yung quality mo.
Nice.